Teenage Bottle Rocket, Another Way, is another band that I didn't discover until later in life. It's
Mhm.
11 songs, 22 minutes, short, dude, fast. The deluxe edition came out later on. That was 17 songs. It's still only 34 minutes. Dude, okay, that's one thing about this genre that I love dearly is that I can get 17 songs and it's not an hour and 26 minutes. It's 34 minutes. Like that's an average of 2 minutes a song. There's another leather jacket type band, Weaselcore they called it, ramones-core. There's a
Mhm.
bunch of different names for it. Very similar to the Methadones, but it's got Cody Templeman, who's in the Illingtons, and I thought that Teenage Bottle Rocket was around before the Illingtons, and I'm wrong. They are not. The
Mhm.
Illingtons apparently was around before Teenage Bottle Rocket. Also, the hat that I always wear. It's one of my favorite logos ever, bro. I love this logo. Teenage Bottle Rocket is probably the latest band that I got into out of all of these, dude. Like I probably
Mhm.
was barely into them when I met my wife, or maybe not even, dude. Like
Mhm.
I didn't get into them until fairly recently, like within maybe 10 years. Uh I don't even know how I missed them. I don't even know. It doesn't
Mhm.
make any sense to me. I'm positive that at some point I heard some of their music and just didn't realize it. But out of nowhere, one day I just was skimming through Pandora or something. It might have been not. Yeah, it might have been Pandora. It wasn't Spotify. It was before Spotify, and like a song came on. I think it was Bigger Than Kiss.
Mhm.
Was that the song? I can't remember what song it was, but it might have been that one. And I just thought like, oh, this kind of sounds like a few of these other bands that I dig. And I just kind of like hit like, yeah, sure, I'll take that song. And then I just kept hearing them, and I was like, damn, they really do sound like these other bands like that I really enjoy. And while on one hand, I love bands that sound wholly original and have their own thing going, a la Rancid and the Gaslight Anthem and all these bands that I'd really love, Wisdom and
Mhm.
Chains. They don't. There is no bands that sound like these bands. They have their own thing. Like even Rancid copycat bands don't really sound like Rancid. We
Mhm.
think they do, but if you get down and start looking at it, they don't. On the other hand, I love having a band that sounds like a band I like because I like that band. So why wouldn't I want more of it? Sometimes I don't want a movie that breaks new ground. I want the schlocky B movie. I want the horror movie where I already know the outcome. I want that's what I want. I want not mediocre, but I want uh what's the word? Like formulaic. I want it
Familiar, yeah.
familiar. Familiar. I want familiar.
Like kind of comfort food music in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I want familiar. I don't want it to necessarily be something that breaks new ground, man. I don't
Mhm.
always need that in my life. And Teenage Bottle Rocket, Another Way, is a really good album. I believe it might be their first album even. But
Mhm.
dude, it's just fast, short punk songs. Dude, I tell you what, I saw them live like a year ago or two, maybe a year and a half ago. That's where I got this hat. Bro, for a band that has like three guys and that's in a small little place, these dudes rock deep out, man. They go at it, dude. It is awesome. They are so good live. I've still got footage from their live show on my other phone. I put a couple of songs up on like TikTok and um, on YouTube, but they are so good live. Had you ever heard of them? And if so, had you heard
Mhm.
this album?
This album, no. So they're an interesting band for me because as we talked about, like the age differentiation, they're like a couple years older than me, but they're like my generation
Okay.
of like dudes. So I feel like I can kind of relate to them because I feel influenced by a lot of the stuff they're clearly influenced by.
Yeah.
I remember when they came out, I didn't take the time to get into them really till years later, when I kind of processed them more like this is like the Ramones-core era, I would say, which the album you pointed out. And I kind of processed them more as a fat band when they were part of like that new wave of the fat bands in the 20 teens. I kind of feel like though I was almost going to say something similar to you said how they said about they sound like what's familiar to me. They are like the kids almost of the bands that I was really listening to like in 2003, all the again all the fat bands, some of the lookout bands, all that stuff. They sound like just again like the next evolution of that. I kind of put like them and the Bomb Pops and the Interrupters as just like the modern versions of stuff I would have liked back then. And they're not even. And again, we're talking about an album that's 20 years old, so it's not like they're old. I just categorize them as newer.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can dig that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, because they're not 90s, dude. There's a big difference between
Mm-hmm.
2003 and even 1998. Like, there's a big difference there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I freaking love this band. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it because there's not a whole lot. It's basically the same conversation we had with the Methadones.
Right, 50s style on
Yeah,
this whole
yeah.
album. Yeah, they
But-
kind of have like an Elvis vibe. Like as in general, I've always thought that Teenage Bottle Rocket. It's like if Elvis was a punk rocker, he'd be in Teenage Bottle Rocket.
I definitely agree with that, and I also think that they are almost the exact thing that I personally think of as skate punk.
Mhm.
Like I think they're more skate punk than I would like. I don't think that Pennywise is skate punk. They are. They're probably like the skate punk.
See, and
band.
that's my default. When you say skate punk, I think Pennywise, and then I think Bad Religion. Those are the two that I think in that order. Even though I think of Bad Religion as a greater band, but I think as a founder, but Pennywise
not even close, dude.
Just
Pennywise over Bad Religion all day, man. I
really?
will take that.
Oh, wow.
I will die on that hill, dude. If you look at song per song, how many songs do I like from each band, dude? Pennywise probably 3x's them, dude.
Wow, and I love Pennywise, but I always view Pennywise as like the knockoff Bad Religion.
That's No Effects, sir. No Effects is the knockoff Bad Religion.
No Effects is the copycat Bad Religion. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
The plagiarized Bad Religion, maybe you would say.
No, Pennywise is like, like I like Bad Religion. Okay, I've seen them live a million times. One of the last shows I took my wife to was Bad Religion and Alkaline Trio. But I just never really. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand the hype, dude. Like, I mean, dude, one of the most boring bands I've ever seen live, ever. Like, oh my goodness. It sounds like a preacher up there, bro. It looks like an old man. Like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know, man. But on the flip side of that coin, like, I love that man. It's weird, dude, because I have this, like, weird thing about his music. But, like, as a person, as people, I love them. They're great people. I like what they stand for. I like what they did for our genre. I mean, how could I not, right? I mean, they birthed the stuff that I grew up on, and I always found it funny that was the band that gave me all the stuff that I love, but it's like my least favorite band out of all of it. Like, I mean,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
By default, I like them though. I mean, I do like Bad Religion. They've got albums that I listen to. It's
more the fruits of their labor though that has benefited you. That you've engaged with. Yeah.
I just didn't. Their live show is just so boring. Like, have you seen them live?
Yeah, I've seen them live a couple of times, and I love the live show. Yeah.
What?
I know, but I like I made a Bad Religion video, and I made that exact analogy that it's like almost like a church service up there. I said that, and I made he's the preacher, we're the congregation.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody likes what they like, right?
I'll go through periods where I'll only listen to Bad Religion for like a couple weeks at a time, where that's just what's on the brain.
Yeah, I definitely go with Pennywise with that. I go where I'll only listen to, like, I went back and listened to this Pennywise album from 2003, and it was like, what is he talking? This album slaps, bro. That was awesome. Like, I listened to it like a lot more than I was expecting to, bro. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, behind the scenes, folks, we had a lot of discourse about the 2003 Pennywise album.
Dude, yeah, I mean, it was like I think that's like probably the one we disagree on the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
Yeah. And I don't even dislike it. I just, when I got it at the time, I remember being really hyped for it, and then just kind of having it, and it just sat there. I listened to it. I didn't think it was bad. It just didn't grab me.
There's a lot of albums that I've done that with, and I've had to go back and like rediscover, man. Mm-hmm. Like, it's funny, dude, because doing this video, I've actually figured out where we start to part ways on our musical taste. Because like, your list is like albums that there's only like one on there that I was like, oh, I get it. Like I like that a lot. But there's 4 albums that now I got appreciation for them. Now I want to listen to them and dig into them. But all the way up until now, I didn't care about them. It's weird, man. It's so strange.
Well, and I think the list, even in a lot of ways, except for some of the ones that you discovered later, but even then, it really represents the ones that we're super passionate about, our stages of life when they would have come out, and how we would have received them.
Well, my 93 and 92 albums are like, I would say probably a little bit more personal to me, because back then I had just discovered stuff in like 94, and so I was digging into 92 releases, 93 releases. That's the stuff that I was just getting into. So those are like Rancid self-titled 1993. I can't understand how anybody doesn't call that a 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10. Like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me, because I listened to it the other day just to like go back and check it out, and I was like, because I'm working on a video of ranking the Rancid albums. It is so much harder than I thought it was going to be, because every time I think I figured it out, I go listen to an album and go, damn it, no, this needs to be ranked higher. Every one of their albums are so good. So Yeah, it's a weird, stressful thing to try to do that for me because it's like my all-time favorite band.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's why sometimes the tier ranking is an easier model because like that's an A and that's an A, you know, instead of being one
yeah,
and
I don't
two.
want to do that, man. I want to make it harder. I want to give like a definitive answer. That's the
That challenge,
I prefer a definitive answer. I don't want to be
and
like,
then live with it.
oh yeah, because your opinion can change and people just don't get that. Your
Mhm.
opinion can change and it will. So like, stop
These
acting
li-
like I said it on Tuesday. It means I have to still believe it on Thursday. I don't.
these lists wouldn't have been the same in 2003 had either one of us
Hell
made this.
no, dude. I would have argued. I would have hung up on you and you said mess back then.
I wouldn't have put Mest on the list, even though I listened to it.
Let's
That's
go.
the irony there. That's what I love about you talk about being an adult. Is that's exactly the point. Is I don't give a so like when I started my channel, I wanted to put like NoFX, Bad Religion, Rancid content as supplemental because that's the stuff I do like. But it really wasn't the vision with the channel. I wanted to make it like a 2000s culture channel based around like that mess style music. I would put out videos and no one would watch them. And then, you know, I did a Bad Religion video, people would watch it. NoFX video, people watched it. Even a Ramones video, I was like, wait a minute. First of all, my audience is older than I am, which I had to discover. Which anyway, I look at now that I have the demographics, they are. But also, it's funny because I wouldn't have had the guts to try to do like a pop punk YouTube channel if YouTube existed in 2003. I listened to a lot of the stuff almost like I wouldn't say like in the closet, but like yeah, I liked it, but I would like I was never gonna buy a messed shirt back then. Like I got a Newfound Glory shirt now that like I totally wouldn't have worn back then. Even though I listened to them all the time. Yeah,
I got a lot, dude. I used to get crap for being a Rancid fan, bro. So like, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I did not tell my friends I was jamming.
And see, that's funny to me because that's how I always like got led into the club, so to speak, was the Rancid attire. Because by that point, again, 2003, yes, there was still that resentment towards them, but a lot of that had been sort of forgotten, and they had been enshrined as the legendary band, as you know, the band that all the other bands kind of wanted to impress. It felt like, so,
I got into them at a weird time because they were like
they were blowing up when you were getting into them too, though.
Yeah, and people like hated them for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny too because they never even went to a major label. I never understood why they got any hate at all ever. Period. The end. Like I just don't get it. People are just stupid. But all right, let's move on to the next album. What you got?